No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Welcome to the Lithia Ford of Boise Pregame Show from Bronco Nation News, as we get you set for the latest news, insight, and analysis as game time approaches. The BNN Pregame Show is presented by Lithia Ford of Boise. Check out lithiafordboise.com to view the full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Western Collective Studios. Head down to Western Collective's locations in Garden City or downtown Boise to try some of their delicious beers, including the Horseshoe Golden Ale, the first beer to support an NIL collective. Now, let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise Pregame Show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, good evening, Bronco Nation. Welcome to ExtraMile Arena. We got Mountain West basketball tonight at the X as two teams desperate to get back in the win column meet tonight here at ExtraMile Arena as the Nevada Wolfpack coming in with an 11-9 record, a disappointing 3-6 in Mountain West play, take on the home team, the Boise State Broncos, who also have disappointed a little bit to this point, coming in with a record of 13-7 and 5-4 in Mountain West play. 8 o'clock tip-off coming up on, what are we on tonight? CBS Sports Network, yeah. I believe. But you know where you'll be listening. 670 KBOI. It's our man Abe Jackson and Bob Beeler. And nice enough to join us, as he does, we kick off every pregame show here, is the great Abe Jackson with the Bronco Radio Network in Learfield. And Abe, I missed you, Evan. I haven't seen you for a week, man.
Feels like I haven't done a game for a bit, man. Yeah. Hey, can you turn me up? Sorry, just a little bit. My voice in my headphones.
Your voice.
Yeah, my voice. Yeah, right, that'll work. Thank you. Appreciate it. No, it feels like it's been a while. I mean, yeah, didn't make the trip to Colorado State and then a bye. So
I forgot about that. I was just staying with the bye week, but I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, we did the pregame, but it wasn't there to do the postgame, but watched the whole thing on TV and then the bye. So, yeah, glad to be back here.
The big storyline in this game tonight, will we be able to get Abe Jackson to wear the Jackson's hat here? Abe, they've got they're spread out all over the Section 12 there. They've got them here for the students as they come in. We appreciate our sponsor, Jackson's, for coming through with the hat here. So maybe we can get Johnny Ballgame when he pops on to wear one of these. But if you're coming to the game tonight, try to get one of these. They're passing them out here, but appreciate Jackson's. No, all kidding aside, Abe, Leon Rice, trying to, I don't want to say rock the boat, but trying to figure out what changes he can make to get this season turned around here. I mean, I don't, on the brink's probably a strong word, but this is certainly a teetering season where you need to get some wins here to start turning this thing back in the right direction. And sounds like there's going to be some changes to the starting lineup, some changes to the rotation, and I'm very excited to see what that's going to be.
Yeah, well, I don't think this bye could have come at a better time. I mean, usually when Coach Rice talks about a bye, it's because guys are beat up, and it's like our guys need some rest. And I'm sure there was some rest that needed to be had. But a lot of this was just kind of figuring things out. I mean, this team on paper, one of the best of all time. It kind of reminds me of the 2021 season where I think someone mentioned the super team going into that season, and then they ended up going to the NIT and winning the game. So it kind of so far reminds me a little bit of that. On paper, one of the best you could put together. And then for some reason, just not clicking, losing those close games instead of winning those close games. I mean, a few years ago when I think the Shaver hit 3 last-second threes, and then in the tournament, Nevada missed one in the first round that the Broncos ended up winning. And then San Diego State missed the last-second shot of the championship game. So you have that year where everything went your way in terms of last shots, and then this year where everything's not going your way in terms of last shots.
Yeah, one of the unluckiest teams in America, according to Ken Palm. Johnny was wondering if they're the only team in America that's had the lead 3 times with less than 10 seconds to go and lost the game. It's just been one of those years. I mean, if I know it's, all the sayings out there, but I mean, if those 3 shots all miss off, I mean, they're literally in the NCAA tournament right now. I know it's 3 shots. You can't get it back, but they're not that far off, it feels like, but yet here they are right now staring down the NIT if they can't go on a run.
So let me just present this question to you, BJ. So let's say that Boston College missed that shot.
Okay.
Martinez missed his 3 and didn't get fouled.
Okay.
And then the Colorado State misses and we end up winning that game.
Yeah.
Are we a better team than we are right now? Because 2 teams, their players missed the shot. I mean, I get what you're saying, but we're the same team, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like because Boston College and Martinez made those threes that we're all of a sudden an awful team. I mean, we're the exact same team that we would have been, maybe a little bit different in a mental space.
Yeah.
But if those guys miss those shots, we're not talking about how things need to adjust and he's playing too many people. We're talking about that this is one of the deepest teams and they're pulling out wins, and it's probably because everyone's so fresh that they can get those stops at the end of the game. So it's kind of interesting of just the narrative of a season of how it now 3 years ago when we won the championship and all those single shots, if we had to miss some of those, wouldn't have been one of the best seasons ever either. So funny how it works when if a single shot goes down or misses, it can just have a dramatic effect on the perception of the season.
But they are in the situation they're in. Those shots went in, and you're now, as I said, thinking about an at-large bid is just kind of crazy at this point. You'd have to literally probably win every game left, and that might not even be enough. But, as I've been saying the last couple of days, my phrase kind of is they have 11 games to figure out how to win 3 games in the conference tournament. And so you want to win as many games as you can, position yourself to get a decent seed in the conference tournament and have a better path. And that obviously starts tonight against a Nevada team that's in a very similar boat that they are, underachieving to this point. Got some individual talent, but it hasn't clicked. And for you, the bye week, what do you think was the defense, the rebounding? Just I don't know if it came at a great time or a bad time, but what do you make of the bye week, a full week off as they try to turn the page here?
I mean, I think it was needed, mostly just for the mental preparation to kind of wrap your head around what you want to do the rest of the season. I mean, there was some plays in that Colorado State game that if the Broncos were in a better position or maybe put in just a tinge more effort in that single moment in time, they probably could have come out with a win. And so I think those are going to be the things that you see on film from this coaching staff, is that those single moments where you just need to play a little bit harder or have a little bit more locked in mentally to get through a screen or to not get double teamed in a corner where you know that you're going to maybe turn the ball over. So I just think this bye came at a wonderful time, and I'm excited for them to get out here. And I'll bet it really helped them kind of recharge their batteries, because it has been a season of tough losses. And as a player, those start to take a toll.
Now, we don't have the official starting lineup posted yet, but, reading the tea leaves and things, it sounds like they're going to go with the best defensive lineup they can to start this game. Defense and rebounding. I know a lot of folks are calling for Javen Buchanan to start. I'm not sure he starts based on what I've, heard and just kind of put together, but it sounds like he'll certainly play a lot. Javen Buchanan, I think I heard Mike Prater say today, 13 games in a row where he's had at least 3 fouls. If he can stop fouling, he's going to play a lot in this game tonight. Might be smarter to bring him off the bench, though, to not get an early cheap foul or 2. Let him go against some of the backups on their team, which you certainly think he's better than. But what do you want to see in terms of changes, or what might we see tonight, do you think, as they try to jumpstart this thing?
Well, I'd like to see him dominate in rebounding again. And I think that is a lot of a mindset and just physical once when it comes to rebounding. It's not so much, like shooting a three where you say, okay, it takes a really good player that does one specific thing to shoot a three, and that's what you need. You got 5 guys who can all rebound really hard. I would love to see a dominant rebounding performance against a tall Nevada team, but I think they're actually kind of weak inside. I don't really see any type of power player inside from their 5 or their 4 position.
They do have a 7th-year senior in KJ Himes.
They do, but
7 years.
But I mean, he was kind of the one I had in mind that he doesn't really scare me too much inside. I think he can get muscled around, and I don't really know how many minutes he's going to play. He started some games, but he's not somebody inside that you really got to worry about.
Abe, what's the key to Boise State's offense? This is from Quentin Robert wanting to know the key to Boise State's offense, finding success against a team like Nevada that can be so dynamic.
I mean, from watching
the offense hasn't been the problem this year for them.
It hasn't been the problem, really. It's been the defense, giving up those high percentages, especially in the first halves. I mean, how many times have the Broncos been down in the first half and just had to claw their way back? But, Nevada, I don't really think they're that explosive offensively. I don't really think that they're going to be a team that is close to touching 80. Now, I say that and they're going to maybe knock down 15 threes or something, but they seem to me like a team that has a bunch of really good role players that are trying to be the main guy. Nick Davidson, really good player. If he's your go-to guy, I don't really know if that's going to be successful for you. So the offense for Nevada doesn't really scare me too much. The 3-6 record, honestly, from watching them, I think it's about right. I mean, they lost a heartbreaker at New Mexico, but there's nothing really about Nevada that scares me, and that's why I like the Broncos in this game, and especially at the start of this 4-game stretch where they're going to be favored in, I think, every one.
Final thing or two for you here, Abe. 11 guys. It sounds like that's another thing that's going to be dwindled down a little bit to, 8 or 9 guys here possibly. What, as a player, I know in the past Leon got criticized because he didn't play enough, and now he's playing 11. But when you are one of those guys that's getting a couple minutes and maybe not really able to get into a rhythm, what do you think maybe cutting down the rotation a little bit could do?
Yeah, well, it could get you into a better flow. I mean, it really could. It could get you to work through some things on the court instead of getting taken off and working through those things on the bench. But it's so hard, I guess, it's when you're a coach, when you have that deep of a bench, that it's so hard to let a player work through something because you're like, well, I got another guy right here who could go in, and I have confidence in him. So I think you're going to see the bench shortened. I don't know if it's going to be down to like 6 or 7 like we've seen in some years, but that 8 or 9, a couple of the guys that I don't really know are going to get a bunch of minutes. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Of course, haven't heard anything, but I think it would be tough to keep the rotation as it is with the outcomes of the previous games to play 11 guys. 2
desperate teams tonight. They're 3-6. I mentioned they're in a similar boat, underachieving. Boise State was picked to win the league. They were picked 3rd, and they're 3-6. So obviously you're going to get 2 teams desperate for a win tonight.
Yeah, need it for sure. And the Broncos, they have this nice little stretch of 4 games that are all of them very winnable. Starts tonight. And I think if you get these 4 wins in a row and then head to San Diego State, who has not been awesome at home, has lost 3 games at home. They pulled one out last night after being down 22 to San Jose State. Then all of a sudden in the last 10 minutes, San Jose State just kind of fell back into their old routine that they've kind of been in for the last decade or so and lost that game. But San Diego State beatable in Viejas.
Well, keys to this one, Abe. How does Boise State turn the season around starting tonight?
Physicality. Just be physical. This Nevada team is not overly strong or overly physical. I mean, there was a couple games that the Broncos just got out physical. New Mexico, for one, they were just getting pushed all over the court. The whistles weren't getting blown, but you got to work through that. I just want to see a nice physical game starting inside with Degenhardt.
Appreciate it, Abe. We'll be listening 13 minutes over on 670 KBOI. It's only the AM side tonight, I believe. 670, Bob Beeler, Abe Jackson. They'll have the broadcast. Again, time up your TV, turn the sound down, listen to Bob and Abe, and you'll be happy that you did. Appreciate it. Hopefully a happy postgame.
Yeah, let's have some smiles on this postgame.
Appreciate it, Abe. Thanks a lot. There he is, Abe Jackson. Appreciate him for joining us here on Bronco Nation News. Abe Jackson. Again, you can hear him, Bob and Abe, coming up in 13 minutes over on 670 KBOI. 670 KBOI, Bob Beeler and Abe Jackson coming up. This is the Lithia Ford of Boise pregame show. We appreciate Lithia Ford. I was out there today talking to some of their NIL athletes, Cage Casey, Roger Carrion, Latrell Caples getting added to the mix from the football team. So we appreciate Jim Sturk and Lithia Ford of Boise, our pregame show sponsor here. LithiaFordBoise.com. View their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. And, of course, our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. We appreciate Andy Rowe and company. Rowpaint.com, all your painting needs. Hit them up, rowpaint.com. If you have a score prediction, a starting five prediction, anything you got, where you're watching from, we'll give you a shout-out. Let us know here on the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. But we have the honor and the privilege for a couple minutes here of having Johnny Ballgame, 95.3 FM, The Ticket. You'll hear him again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Bronco Nation News Live. Johnny, appreciate you for a couple minutes. Crowd's starting to file in. I've got your hat if you'd like to put it on for the folks here, courtesy of Jackson's.
It's a net hat?
It's a net hat. They provided them to all the students. The band's going to have them. Section 12 got them as well. So a little
I like it.
A little bucket hat here for the Nets tonight.
I like it. Well, what's your assessment on the student section? 45
Don't
minutes
try to get me in
tip-off.
trouble again. Come on, Johnny. Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's about 20 of them. That's my assessment.
So we'll see how it's going to be tonight. I want to try to make Nevada, Boise State in this arena special.
It has been in the past.
I just don't know if, it's catching on the way I want it to, but I think desperate. I'm trying to find the adjective. That feels like both teams. I mean, there's no other way. It's a find a way. It's a whatever it takes game for both teams. And, Leon said after the last loss with you and a little bit with Beeler that, rock bottom, shakeups, everything's on the table type of thing. And then a couple days ago, we talked to him and it was more like, hey, calm down. We've been unlucky at times. So I don't really know where he's going to go with this lineup. The last couple games I've been on picking how the game was going to go, right?
You've been spot on. You have.
I don't even have a guess on this one. All I know is Nevada has two guys that can really score in Sanders and Davidson, and they have the best defensive player. Just ask Steve Alford. He'll tell you, Trey Coleman, who has been in this league longer than Tyson Degenhart. He's been a starter for Nevada for basically 5 years. Trey Coleman, a really good defensive player. So Nevada has guys, dude. And if you examine what they've done this year, they've had almost as many tough, excruciating losses than Boise State. Nevada fan could probably argue they've had more. So, again, push is going to come to shove tonight at ExtraMile Arena, BJ. And both these programs need it. And we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a good one.
Do you think is there a lineup out there that could start that fans would be surprised, shocked? What do you make of? There's some rumblings about what we might see. It sounds like it's going to be a defensive lineup. Maybe that means an Ugbo. Maybe that means a Keene. I know a lot of people are wanting Javen Buchanan in the starting lineup, but I'm not sure that happens tonight. They're just a little worried. It sounds like maybe about his, I don't know.
Foul trouble.
Maybe about his foul trouble. What was Prater's stat? 13 games in a row with at least 3 fouls.
Yes.
So
and he's fouled out, I believe, 3 of those.
So maybe
it's a concern.
Maybe that would be something where you bring him off the bench just to try to not get him in foul trouble early. I don't know.
I'll buy that. But I want, if Buchanan doesn't start tonight, and that does seem foreign for me to say, I think Buchanan needs to start tonight, but these guys know a heck of a lot more about this team than old Johnny Ballgame over here. So I'll trust this staff.
Okay.
But if I'm not starting Buchanan, he's coming in before the first media timeout, which is the 16-minute mark, BJ. He's coming in early. I just want to buy some time. You're right. Not have him get that stupid foul on the first, second, or third possession. I understand Ugbo a little bit too. I like his size and the space that he creates. I don't like him offensively.
You just can't tell me, nothing against Emmanuel Ugbo, but if he does start tonight, you just cannot tell me over the course of a 40-minute game he's a better option than Omar Stanley. I know Omar's been struggling this year. But
I would not start Ugbo over Omar. No. Do you think there's a chance Omar Stanley comes off the bench tonight?
Well, I'm trying to think who. No, you're probably right. Maybe it's both of them. Or is it a Meadow instead of one of them? I mean, we have Cardenas. We have Tyson. It sounds like we have Ugbo and Keene. I mean, who's the fifth player? Is it Andrew Meadow?
Ugbo and Keene. That's what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's 4 guys.
Well, I'd be surprised.
I'm waiting to see if they've updated this yet. They haven't.
I'd be surprised. But I know BJ talks to people, so he's probably giving the entire world a big nugget there that those 2 players he just mentioned are starting tonight. And if they are,
Don't put words in my mouth.
Maybe Leon's going to be quick to cover. Maybe Leon's going to be quick to go to the bench, BJ.
Yeah.
But I mean, Andrew Meadow, I mean, he's been starting. Is he going to come off the bench? What I would do is this.
We both agree, though, that Julian Bowie should be playing some minutes.
Bowie's been terrific this year. He's your best athlete. He's physical. He's ripped. He shoots well. He's not a spaz. He doesn't get all nervous and worried about his minutes, like messing up. He plays through mistakes well. I'd play Bowie 30-plus minutes, man.
I agree.
30 minutes, man. I'm never taking him out. BJ's mother-in-law. How are you?
Father-in-law, come on.
Come on. Father-in-law, Mark.
Yes.
Mother-in-law. Love it, man. Good to see you guys. But, yeah, that's what I would say. I would go that. If you're going to start R.J. Keene and Ugbo or that type of lineup and say, hey, this is our best defensive lineup, okay, Leon, but, man, if that happens, I mean, it's going to be a heck of a post-game show tonight, and I'm so happy I get to go home and watch it. Go till like 1 a.m. tonight, BJ.
Again, we won't start till 10:30. I mean, you want to stick around and go till 1 a.m. with me? Add a little extra to that paycheck, maybe?
Would you bring up Quentin's comment there?
What do we got here? We got 5 minutes left with you, Johnny. What do you got? What do you think Boise State's game plan should be on defense to slow down Nevada's key scorers?
All right, stupid suggestion here, but I've been thinking about what
By the way, we have a
do.
mattress walking around.
Awesome. A mattress, what's it called? A mascot mattress. Good stuff, BJ. You made me lose my train. Okay.
I'm sorry.
What I would do with this team, and I've been thinking about it, I don't know if you can be a defensive team without the defensive personnel that you need. For me, this team is finesse. It's offense. I'm going to try to outscore people and outshoot people. I know the ball hasn't been falling in shooting either, so that may not be an answer, but it feels to me like this roster is more finesse, smooth, offensive than kind of old, experienced, gritty, tough, that type of deal. Not that they aren't, just not as gritty or tough as previous Leon teams. That's what I would think I would do. I would try to maybe, I know it's tough to switch a style this late in the season, but it feels to me like some of the parts that they want to fill certain roles might be better at doing other things.
What do you think my answer will be to this? Zach Cover wants to know if I would trade the years with Mahomes to be replaced with Tyler Thigpen if it meant a Boise State Final Four run this year.
BJ wouldn't do that. Actually, it'd be huge for BNN.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would do that. Do I get to keep the money all I won on the previous Chiefs Super Bowls?
You'd probably get to pay for me to come down there too. So, yeah, I'd probably get to hitch a ride with Uncle BJ over here.
I would take a Boise State Final Four run for business over just about anything. Right?
That'd be pretty big for you. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. But, yeah.
By the way, Quentin, I think this was a typo, but he gave us his starting 5 here and forgot to include Alvaro Cardenas. That's got to be a typo.
Alvaro's for sure starting, but I mean, again, I would go Alvaro at the 1, Bowie and Buchanan at the 2 and the 3.
Take the over on Tyson Degenhart points. Mama's in the house.
Tyson at the 5,
in the house.
Omar at the 4. That's the lineup I'm running with. Alvaro, Buchanan, and Bowie, Tyson, and Omar. I mean, to me, that's where I'm going. But this team knows, this coaching staff knows it better than us. And you don't think that's going to be the lineup tonight?
I don't know the full lineup. My sense, Johnny, I don't talk to anybody. You know that. My sense is that they're going to go with a lineup to start the game that is their best defensive lineup.
Okay. And
their best rebounding lineup. And I think that includes an R.J. Keene, and that includes maybe an Emmanuel Ugbo.
Nobody's been, I think, as much of a fan of RJ with the media as I have this year. I've given that guy the benefit of every doubt. I really have. And he needs to shoot better, and he knows that. I've always been team RJ. If he is starting and he does have this role, I hope he runs with it.
What's our man Mike Prater going to think if RJ Keene is starting? I heard him on the radio today.
And go back and listen to the 520 segment, something like that. BJ heard it coming in, but 100%. He's going to have to play well, shoot 40% from downtown. This team needs to shoot well. I don't know, man. I can't get a gauge on this game. Last few games at home, I've called it. Easy peasy. I don't have that with this one. I don't know, man. Nevada has good players. They have 2 really good scorers and the best defender in the league. Like, they're going to come at you, man. And Steve Alford's a good coach. You know that.
And Xavier Dussell's shooting 45% from 3 too on his 3rd Mountain West school. He's a guy you don't want to root for tonight because he's trying to pass Tyson Diggin or Justinian Jessup's 3-point record. He's 20 away, and he's getting the 5th COVID year to do it too.
He's going to absolutely pass that, though. I mean, he's 20 more threes in however many games, 12 games. Yeah. So he's going to pass that. What's up with the great?
You got 60 seconds left, by the way. Go. What do you got here? In the
Jay
final minute?
Tust.
Yes. In the house. Jay Tust is here.
Jay Tust, man.
So let's get Jay Tust.
I'll tell you, man.
There's Jay Tust.
Yep. What's going on in that conversation there?
Nathan Carroll. This is like off stage, getting ready to make their appearance here. Nathan Carroll, Jay Tust having a nice conversation here. What I want to know, what is up with the Johnny Ballgame mouse pad? Jay, can you hold up that mouse pad right there? Johnny Ballgame brought his own mouse, and he brought a Johnny Ballgame mouse pad.
Okay, get the camera back on us. Camera 2.
You brought your own mouse and mouse pad to the game tonight, Johnny Ballgame.
Get that off of there. Get it off. Get off it. Get off it.
We appreciate you, Johnny. Thanks for coming on, man. John Mallory, we appreciate him for coming on. We're going to move the camera back over here. Our man Nathan Carroll is going to come on and join us as well. We're having fun here at ExtraMile Arena. Boise State, Nevada, coming up here in about 35 minutes on Bronco Nation News. You're watching a free show on YouTube thanks to some of our great sponsors. Here's 30 seconds. We thank some of our sponsors here.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RovePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Voucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.
All right, back here live at ExtraMile Arena, waiting for this starting lineup to get posted here on the Stat Broadcast site. But we've got our man Nathan Carroll doing a tremendous job with football, basketball stories, all that great stuff. We need to know what you and Jay Tuss were talking about earlier. We saw the off-camera conversation there. Hopefully Jay was giving you some good stuff.
Yeah, just talking about Ichiro going to the Hall of Fame. Two Washington guys going at it, just reminiscing on one of the few greats that the Mariners have gotten. So, nothing too important, just trying to pass through the time here in pregame.
Well, I did get you if you want this. You can have the Jackson's bucket hat here. Appreciate our sponsor, Jackson's. Maybe I'll have to wear this on the post-game show tonight as our sponsor here. But fans are starting to wear them here. Some of the students, you came as a media member tonight, not a fan, so you don't get to wear one of these in the crowd, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's a big loss right there. We love Jackson's, though. That'll look great on you. Look great on the kids.
I'll give it to one of the kids.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll give it to a kid. But all right. We're trying to wait for the starting lineup to come out. By the way, the officiating crew, a little Big Ten flavor to the officiating crew tonight. We do have, I tweeted it out for the nerds that care that I do, the number 5 ranked official at Ken Palm, Paul Sells, is in the house tonight. Worked Minnesota at Michigan. I don't know how you get from Ann Arbor, Michigan to Boise, but he was in Ann Arbor, Michigan last night. Larry Scarrato, also a Big Ten official, number 55 at Ken Palm, was in Fort Collins last night for the Air Force Colorado State game. And then Scott Brown, one of the officials in the Utah State, Boise State game in Logan a couple weeks ago, also was in Fort Collins last night. He's back tonight, but Paul and Larry are 2 Big Ten heavy officials, and you have this new consortium thing, and I know it's kind of a nerdy thing, but the Randy McCalls of the world, some of these refs that, fans are used to seeing are now doing way more Big 12 games and are not really Mountain West refs anymore because when the Pac-12 broke down, the Mountain West switched to join the Big 10 with the officiating crews that they have. And so you're getting a lot more Big 10 officials out here and And a lot of the guys that used to do Mountain West Pac-12, about half of them split off to join the Big 12 group, and some of them stayed to do the Big 10 and Mountain West. But it's been a little weird. But two guys that I can't see have ever been in Boise for a game, doing a game tonight, along with Scott Brown, who is the guy, ironically enough, that believe works for the University of Idaho, raising money in their fundraising department, is now officiating a game in the state of Idaho with Boise State. Don't get me started on that. But your thoughts on this team, where they're at, the bye week, and just, kind of big picture with this program, where they're at, what you want to see here moving forward.
Yeah, as a neutral observer, I think this is a really fascinating game.
You're not a neutral observer. You're an alum of Boise State. Come on now.
Yeah, but, trying to be an objective observer, we'll put it that way. I think it's a fascinating game. Boise State 2-4 in their last 6 in the Mountain West. Last time that happened was in that 2019 season where Boise State, kind of collapsed a little bit. Worst season that we've seen under Leon Rice in the past decade. So it's a bit of an inflection point for this team. How do they respond to going on a bit of a slow slump? We saw at the end of last game, Leon said there were going to be changes to the lineups. He was going to shorten the rotation. He was going to play guys who wanted to rebound and wanted to play defense. We'll find out soon enough who that is, that he feels wants to play defense, that he feels wants to rebound. But I'm fascinated to see the rotation tonight, to see what Leon does with it. Especially if he does cut it down. Does he cut it to 8? Does he cut it to 9? If he does go to 8 or 9, who are the guys getting those minutes? I'm fascinated to see Nevada and their shooting performance. I tweeted this out that, coming into Mountain West play, Nevada had been one of the hottest teams in the country from 3. We get into Mountain West play, and they're 10th in the Mountain West in three-point shooting just above 32% in Mountain West play. Do we get the Nevada that we saw in non-conference that was red hot from 3, one of the best in the country, or do we get the Nevada that we've seen the last few weeks? And then ultimately, it's not sexy, it's not going to be drawing the headlines, but I think this game comes down to rebounding. Boise State and Nevada are the number 1 and number 2 rebounding teams in the Mountain West. Kind of funny, in Mountain West play, Nevada's the number 1 offensive rebounding team. Boise State's the number 2 offensive rebounding team. Boise State's the number 1 defensive rebounding team. Nevada's the number 2 defensive rebounding team. I think it's a game that both teams are going to be crashing the glass, and whoever comes out, +2, +3 on the rebounding margin has a good chance to win. So,
Quentin, sorry to cut you off. Quentin wants to know, how important is it for Boise State to get off to a fast start tonight? What can they do to avoid falling behind early? As the Nevada Wolfpack take the court to not much reaction at all here.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly important to start fast because this team doesn't have a lot of shooting. It's been an issue this year, and typically one of the ways you can make up a deficit quickly is through knockdown shooting, right? We've seen that in the past. Boise State's had a few teams that when they get hot from 3, they can go on 12-0, 15-0 runs. That's not this team. And I kind of alluded to it a moment ago. The key to a quick start, I think, is going to be controlling the glass. If you're giving Nevada extra possessions because they're getting offensive rebounds, and likewise, if Boise State's being held to 1 shot per possession, you just make it a lot harder on yourself to be able to get points and similarly get stops. So I think rebounding is going to be a massive key in this game. And then one other place I think Boise can see a little bit of success. Since Mountain West play started, Boise's got the number 1 2-point offense in the conference. They've been very efficient inside the arc. We know that that's where Tyson Dagenhart really makes his money, is his ability to operate in the low post. Nevada has not been one of the best 2-point defenses in conference play, currently sitting at 8th in the Mountain West. So I think that's one of the things that you'll be looking for. Look for Boise State to attack early, try to get to the rim, try to get Tyson the ball in the low block, and try to get some points from inside the arc.
All right, well, there's a lot of talk about the starting lineup, the rotation, what we would do here. What would you, Nathan Carroll, if you had control of the playing time for the 40 minutes tonight, what's kind of your hierarchy of who needs minutes here and who doesn't?
Yeah, Tyson and Cardenas, 1-2, obviously. They've been 1-2 all year. I think that's got to remain. I would go Javen Buchanan as that number 3 guy. Throughout most of the season, it's been Andrew Meadow being 3rd in minutes. But I would go Buchanan. He's been so good, so consistently. What he provides as a cutter, as well as a shot creator, as well as a defender, is something this team desperately needs. And then from there, you roll a little bit with who's playing well, who's showing effort. I would love to see Omar Stanley in the lineup just to see if you can get him going, right? Get him 25, 28 minutes because, I put this in the article, but if this team wants to be an NCAA tournament team, I think they need Omar Stanley playing at his ceiling, at his full capacity. And so, you're at a spot now where at-large bid territory is very, very slim. Just find a way to get the best out of Omar Stanley over these next 11 games. So I would go with him. And then, from there, Andrew Meadow off the bench as a bench scorer. I like his potential role there. And then amongst the role guys, like I said, it's whoever's showing that effort on defense, who's rebounding, who's knocking down shots. I think that's something that the beauty of depth is you can be a little variable on the fringes there. But certainly the four I would like to see starting are Cardenas, Buchanan, Stanley, Dagenhart, and then I'd probably throw Bowie in there as the fifth, just given his shooting ability.
And how far down would you go? I mean, I think we all believe we're probably not going to see 11 guys. Hopefully, you see 12 if it's a blowout. Let's get Brennan Ramirez in there. But I mean, if it's going to be anywhere from 8 to 10, probably not 11. Like, where are you on the other end too? I hate to put it like that, but where do you see that cutoff line maybe being for a guy like Leon?
I think it's less about having a cutoff number and more just we want our core guys to get this many minutes, right? So maybe you allocate, somewhere in the ballpark of 130 minutes for your four main guys that I had talked through. Get those guys 130 minutes, and then from there, figure out who the rotation guys are. If the first two guys off the bench that you put in aren't displaying that effort, maybe it's rotating in two more guys, but I think ideally by the end of the year, you want to be at about an 8.5-man lineup, right? You've got three consistent bench guys who are coming in and contributing, and then you have kind of a Swiss Army knife guy who can bring in every other game and in moments where he's needed. I think a guy like Emmanuel Ugbo certainly fits that ability where you can bring him in 5-6 minutes a game and have him play really high energy minutes, good defense, good rebounding. So that's the direction I would go in. But, at the end of the day, Leon Rice is getting paid the big bucks to coach. We'll see what he does with it. He's got a long track record of having success with this tinkering. And, it's been a lot of tinkering to start the year so far. We'll see if he figures it out tonight and finds his core group.
What I guess, too, in terms of the 11 games remaining, what is a realistic record here? I know Ken Pom has the individual games at 9-2, but the aggregate at 8-3. I mean, do you see this team going 8-3 down the stretch?
I think it's certainly in the realm of possibility, right? And I mean,
because the metrics do seem to love this team still, or not love them, but the metrics maybe like them a little more than the eye test right now.
Yeah, and the reason for that is when Boise State's won, they've won in blowouts, and when they've lost close, outside of that New Mexico game, and you could argue the San Francisco game, they've typically lost close. Teams that do that are typically better than their record would suggest. I think 8-3 down the stretch is realistic. Look, I think 10-1 or 11-0 is in the realm of possibility. If you go down the stretch of teams that they play, the biggest underdog Boise State's going to be per Ken Pom is 6 to San Diego State. Do I think they go 11-0? Probably not. But if this team finds their footing, I think 9-2, 10-3 is well within the realm of possibility. And if we continue to see some of the inconsistencies we've seen so far this season, finishing out here 7-4 is 6-5. I don't think that's off the table.
Give us, you mentioned Nevada. They're in a weird spot, too, because they were picked third in this conference. They're 3-6. They've lost a lot of close games. I was listening to Steve Alford's postgame the other day, and it is very similar to what Leon Rice is saying in terms of just losing every which way, and maybe I'm playing too many guys and having trouble finding the rotations, and they're in a similar spot. I mean, they've got some familiar names, some talented names, but just haven't been able yet to quite get it going either. And obviously this is they're 3-6, and their season's, spiraling out of control as well, coming off two bad losses. Like, what do you make of the Nevada side? Obviously both teams, very similar spots, two desperate teams tonight.
Yeah, Nevada is a reminder for Boise State fans that no matter how bad it is, it could always be worse. I mean, Nevada, they come out this season like gangbusters, pick up non-conference wins against Santa Clara, who just knocked off Gonzaga a week or two ago. They beat Washington. They beat VCU, which is a top 40 team per Ken Pom. And they were putting together an at-large resume, come into conference play. They've lost to pretty much every competent team they've played, right? If you look at the 5 Ken Pom top 100 teams they've played, they're 0-5. In their 3 wins, it included going to overtime against Fresno State, included being down at half against Air Force. And then these last 2 games, They dropped to Utah State by 21 and dropped to San Diego State by 19 at home. It's been really rough for Nevada, especially coming into conference play. And a lot of it just came down to in non-con, they were really hot from three, and they haven't been able to hit the three ball in conference play. We'll see if they get back to it tonight. I think if Nevada wants to get a win tonight, they have to shoot well from three, have to be able to hit 8 or 9 threes, shoot, above 35%, because that's really been the difference for this team so far this year.
And I was just going to say, Xavier Dussel, obviously at the top of that list, 45% from three and approaching the Mountain West three-point record. He's 20 away, I believe, from Justinian Jessup's career record.
Yeah, and so he's got to get hot, but it's even the other guys, right? You need Kobe Sanders, you need Nick Davidson, to be playing well and start knocking down threes. Those guys, it's kind of like Boise State. They're capable three-point shooters, but they showed it early in the year and haven't showed it as much since. If Nevada gets hot tonight, if they shoot well from three, they'll certainly have a chance in this game. And I think that's just true of both teams, right? Two teams that have shown that they can hit threes, but they haven't done it consistently. If either team gets hot, I think there's a good chance they win.
So what's your take on the hierarchy in the Mountain West here? And obviously it will eventually even out this year. Everyone has to play everybody twice, and we do get a true round robin this year. What do you make of that and where we're at right now? And I had a lot of Colorado State fans in my mentions ripping on me for being, ripping on them, and it was petty and all this. But, I mean, Colorado State has benefited from a really nice schedule to this point, sitting there at 8-2. They're in third place right now. I'm not sure they finished in the top 5 when it's all said and done, to be honest with you. But what do you just make of the teams we believe in when you look at the schedules and how they're going to equal out and all that kind of stuff in terms of the Mountain West standings here as we approach almost the midway point?
Yeah, it's typically in the Mountain West we'll have 1 or 2 great teams and then a lot of good teams behind them. I think every team in the Mountain West this year is just good. I think you could really throw that top 5 or 6 in just about any order, and you'd probably be able to convince someone you're right. So far, I would say I'd probably give the edge to New Mexico as the best team in the conference. Obviously, a 9-1 start. We saw what they could do when they played Boise State down in the pit. When that team gets rolling, they're really, really good. And then after that, again, I think really any order you could go with. I tend to lean towards a team like San Diego State that has shown, they've got kind of next level length and athleticism, which not everyone in the Mountain West can match.
Magoon Guap is becoming a star.
Yes, he is. He's looking like the type of guy who could be like a top 20 pick in the NBA draft. Yes. I don't know where draft boards have him right now, but having a guy like that is not something that the rest of the Mountain West has. So going forward, that's in the top 2 of teams I'm most concerned about if I'm a Boise State fan. But at the end of the day, if you're Boise State, just get into the top 5. Avoid needing to play in that first round and to win 4 games in 4 days down in Vegas, and hope that you get hot when you get to Vegas and can win 3-3. But yeah, I don't think there's a great answer, honestly, to the pecking order, other than I would say I feel pretty confident putting UNLV at 6. We can move everyone else around them, but UNLV just feels like they're 6 because they can lose to anyone and they can beat anyone on any given night.
And I guess final thing, I mean, hey, I know the at-large bid, whatever is what it is, but you got to go one game at a time. You could win the next 4 here, theoretically, and go down to San Diego, 4-game win streak, 17-7 overall, 9-4 in league. I mean, there's a chance here we really get this thing kind of going back in the right direction. But it all starts tonight. But, I mean, if you're Leon Rice trying to give this, pep talk, pregame speech, whatever, there's still a lot of season left, a lot of chance to turn it around, but obviously it starts tonight.
Yeah, certainly. And look, it's the reality of starting off with 3 really tough road games in conference play. You drop all 3 of those. You wish you would have gotten 1 or 2 of them, especially with the way it transpired. But now you get a little bit of easier stretch, right? Not only should Boise State potentially go 4-0 these next 4, you could certainly make the case they should go 4-0 in these next 4 games. And then from there, San Diego State's a team that Boise State has had success against in recent years. Obviously, took the loss at home back in the start of the month. But, if you've won 5 in a row against them, there's something there that Leon knows that he feels comfortable with. And then if you can go 4-0, knock off San Diego State and Viejas, then you start talking about, okay, what is the ceiling on this team? What can they be? You start to have a little bit more of some of those at-large conversations again. But for tonight, get the win against Nevada and then take care of business in those next 3 that should be very winnable for you.
Appreciate you as always, man. What are you working on for Bronco Nation News here?
Yeah, we'll do a game recap after this one. Earlier this week, we put together some way too early predictions for football season.
Yep.
It's a bye week. We know people love Boise State football. Wanted to be able to talk through some things there. Couldn't put together a way too early top 25, being Bronco Nation news. So put together some predictions for Boise State's football team next year.
Hey, you can expand out a little bit if you want to go. If you want to go college football related, we'll take that anytime. We can. I'll let you. I'll let it slide.
Yeah, so we'll some football talk there. Plan is to have about 2 to 3 articles a week going forward. It'll be a lot of basketball, a little bit of football, and should be good coming up to a really exciting stretch of the year for college basketball. And all as we get into it, it feels like football season just ended, but spring practices are right around the corner.
Hey, appreciate you, Nathan. Great job as always, man. We appreciate Nathan Carroll for joining us. Hey, you're watching a free pregame show on YouTube. Thanks to our sponsors. Let's give them a quick thank you. 32 seconds to thank our sponsors here. We'll be right back.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RovePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Boucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.
Well, back here live at ExtraMile Arena. I got to be honest, folks, they are a little later than usual in announcing the starting lineups here. This is, Johnny, wouldn't you say that the starting lineups are usually out? Oh, we just got them. Johnny has got, what do we got here? Keen. Oh, Meadow is the fifth starter here. Okay, so Andrew Meadow. There you go. So our starting lineup for tonight for Boise State is R.J. Keene, Alvaro Cardenas, Tyson Degenhart, Emmanuel Ugbo, and Andrew Meadow. Your starting 5 tonight. So Javen Buchanan, Julian Bowie, and Omar Stanley, 3 guys that I said I really want to see. All are coming off the bench tonight. So your starting 5 again for Boise State, R.J. Keene, Alvaro Cardenas, Andrew Meadow, Tyson Degenhart, and Emmanuel Ugbo are your 5 starters for Boise State. Let us know what you think, folks. Keene and Ugbo into the starting lineup as Leon Rice tries to find, and I kind of heard that might be the case. Was just kind of alluding to that earlier in the show, but obviously Leon Rice and company going with a different starting lineup, and they certainly waited a while to announce that as well. That's a lot later than the starting lineups usually are. We have folks, as expected, not happy with that. Why the F is Keene starting? Leon is failing. Let's see what happens here. But again, they're going based off defense and maybe more importantly, hustle and effort and rebounding. And certainly R.J. Keene is one of those guys. And if I had 2 cents for Mike Prater's thoughts right now, Mike Prater on his show earlier today said that he did not think R.J. Keene should play the rest of the season, and now R.J. Keene is starting. So that is pretty funny, actually. But everybody's entitled to their opinion. That's what he said he would do. And Jennifer says, I trust Coach Rice knows what he's doing. Chase doesn't mind it, just win. So Buchanan, Stanley, Bowie, all coming off the bench tonight. Your latest breaking news, Boise State going with Keene, Cardenas, Degenhart, Ugbo, and Meadow in the starting lineup for Boise State tonight. So going defense, going rebounding, and we'll see what happens with this one moving forward here. Hey, that's going to do it. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. Come on back on the post-game show, the Lithia Florida Boise This has been the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. We'll have the Jacksons postgame show coming up after the game. Abe Jackson will join us. Nathan Carroll will join us. Big game tonight for Boise State. Got to win this one. Got to get back on track here in the Mountain West. And just a massive game for a lot of reasons. The season already kind of on the brink here. You cannot afford to lose a home game like this. So time for the starting lineup. We got to get off the show here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you on the Jacksons postgame show. Boise State, Nevada, coming up here on CBS Sports Network. Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.
Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, RovePaint.com. Our major sponsors, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, Lithia Ford, the Blue and Orange Store, Jackson's, and our contributing sponsors, Signature Roofing, Western Collective, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Voucher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and Timberstone Golf Course.